Hello and welcome to DD India. You're watching Express News, a program where we bring you top 100 news of the day. I'm Tanvi Taneja. Let's begin. Prime Minister Narendra Modi marked a significant milestone in India's growth journey, celebrating 11 years of infrastructure revolution that has enhanced India's growth trajectory. India's infrastructure has been transformed at an unprecedented pace under the leadership of Prime Minister Narendra Modi. The past 11 years have seen the rise of modern infrastructure. Union Minister Ashwini Vaishnav has written an article that reflects on 11 years of India's inclusive growth, a journey that has benefited citizens in multiple ways. India's External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar criticized Pakistan during his official visit to Brussels, labelling it terroristan, while urging the international community to adopt a zero-tolerance approach towards terrorism and nuclear blackmail. Speaking at a joint press conference with EU High Representative for Foreign Affairs and Security Policy, Kaja Kallas, Jaishankar said that the current situation should not be viewed as a conflict between two states, but as India's response to terrorism. Kaja Kallas also reiterated EU's strong condemnation of Pahalgam terrorist attack and stressed that India has the right to protect its citizens in accordance with the international law. The two sides concluded the first India-European Union strategic dialogue and held productive discussions on deepening cooperation in defence, maritime security, counter-terrorism, cyber and AI, space and defence industry collaborations. Earlier, Dr. Jaishankar called on EU Commission President Ursula von der Leyen. The two leaders discussed efforts underway to deepen the India-EU partnership. India's trade agreement with the European Free Trade Association, comprising Switzerland, Norway, Iceland and Liechtenstein, will come into effect in October. During his two-day visit to Switzerland, Commerce and Industry Minister Piyush Goyal on Tuesday emphasized that the agreement marks a new chapter in strengthening Indo-Swiss ties, paving the way for even greater collaboration ahead. Piyush Goyal noted that the agreement marks a new chapter in strengthening Indo-Swiss ties, paving the way for greater collaboration. While addressing a gathering of 1,000 plus Swiss businesses at Swissmem Industry Day 2025, the minister said that on March 10, 2024, the two sides signed the Trade and Economic Partnership Agreement. Switzerland State Secretary for Economic Affairs Helene Artieda on Tuesday said that India is a preferred place for Swiss industry and highlighted India's huge consumer base and its firm economic growth. Secretary East of India's Ministry of External Affairs P. Kumaran led the delegation at the East Asia Summit senior officials meeting held in Penang, Malaysia. Chief Election Commissioner Gyanesh Kumar held a series of bilateral meetings with the heads of various election management bodies on the sidelines of his visit to Sweden. While addressing the Stockholm International Conference on Electoral Integrity, the CEC highlighted India's electoral integrity, scale and diversity. India's Minister of Labour and Employment, Dr. Mansukh Mandavia, delivered the national statement at the plenary session of the International Labour Conference in Geneva. The minister also held a bilateral meeting with the Director General, Gilbert F. Huangbo. The cabinet chaired by Prime Minister Narendra Modi has approved two projects of the Railways Ministry with a total cost of 6,405 crore rupees. This aims to enhance mobility, resulting in improved operational efficiency and service reliability for Indian Railways. Commissioner of Railway Safety has commissioned and authorized the Bairabi-Sairang railway line in northeastern Indian state of Mizoram, marking the full integration of the state into the national railway network. The Axiom 4 mission, slated for launch on Wednesday for sending the first Indian Gaganyatri to ISS, has been postponed after An LOX leakage was detected in the propulsion bay during the test. Indian Space Research Organisation ISRO chairman informed this in a social media message. A mass marriage ceremony of 13 former Naxalites who had surrendered earlier was organized in Maharashtra's Gadchiroli district. Chief Minister Devendra Fadnavis attended the ceremony and wished the newlyweds a happy new life. On to business news now. Indian stock markets ended on a positive note on Wednesday with Nifty up 37 points at 25,141. The Sensex added 123 points to close at 82,515. At the Forex market, the Indian rupee ended higher at 85 rupees 51 paise against the dollar on Wednesday. Gold futures maturing on August 5th were priced at 97,080 rupees per 10 grams on the multi-commodity exchange. Silver futures for July 4th maturity stood at 105,957 rupees per kilo on the MCX. As per a report by Boston Consulting Group, India's artificial market is set to triple to $17 billion by 2027. Crude oil prices rose to $65.15 per barrel on Wednesday as markets weighed uncertainty over the finalization of a US-China trade agreement. In Sri Lanka, electricity tariffs will be raised by 15% starting June 12th, the country's Public Utilities Commission announced on Tuesday. Officials described the 15% adjustment as a corrective step to stabilize the sector and maintain alignment with economic reform goals. Australia's Qantas Airways on Wednesday announced that it will close its Singapore-based budget airline Jetstar Asia amid rising supplier costs, high airport fees and strong regional competition. Potato prices in Russia have tripled since last year. Farmers blame poor weather as well as high interest rates as factors behind the price surge. Mohammad Shahzeb Khan, a Pakistani citizen residing in Canada, was extradited to the United States on charges of attempting to provide material support to the ISIS and attempting to commit acts of terrorism. He has now arrived in the US and will face justice, FBI chief said. Mohammad Shahzeb Khan allegedly had planned his attack to occur on October 7th, 2024, the one-year anniversary of the Hamas terrorist attack in Israel. In Los Angeles, protests continue for the fifth day against immigration and customs enforcement, with demonstrators clashing with law enforcement. US President Donald Trump has deployed thousands of troops, including 700 active duty US Marines, to Los Angeles, despite California Governor Gavin Newsom saying that the move is unnecessary. In a hardline speech at an army base on Tuesday, Trump said that Los Angeles was being invaded by a foreign enemy and vowed to liberate the city after days of protests sparked by immigration raids. California Governor Gavin Newsom has accused the president of bypassing state authorities and inflaming what had been a winding down protest movement. Protests also took place in other cities, including Chicago, New York, Washington, and Atlanta. Several thousand people took to the streets of New York City to protest the immigration policies of President Donald Trump. New York Mayor Eric Adams has said that protests like those in LA are unacceptable and will not be tolerated if attempted in their city. Members of the Latin American community in the US city of San Francisco have criticized the Trump administration's deployment of National Guard troops after demonstrations erupted over the controversial immigration raids. The US and China have reached a preliminary trade framework after 2 days of talks in London, aiming to implement the earlier agreements. US Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick said that a trade framework agreed with China in London is expected to resolve restrictions on rare earths and magnets. China's Vice Commerce Minister Li Chenggong has also confirmed a trade framework deal. This deal will now be presented to both the presidents, Donald Trump and Xi Jinping, for their final approval. Brazil's former president Jair Bolsonaro has denied his involvement in an alleged plot to overthrow the country's current president, Luiz Inácio Lula da Silva. Along with 7 co-conspirators, former Brazilian President Bolsonaro is standing trial over the events which led up to the storming of government buildings by his supporters on 8th January 2023. Violent clashes broke out on Tuesday in Lalagua, a mining town in Bolivia's Potosi province, as residents confronted former 3-term President Evo Morales supporters who had blocked local roads. The protests in Bolivia were triggered by supporters of Morales demanding the electoral court to allow the former president to run in the upcoming elections, even though constitutional rulings bar him from seeking re-election. Fuel shortages in Bolivia has stretched into the 5th week. The situation, driven by dwindling dollar reserves and political tensions, poses a serious threat to Bolivia's rural economy and food security. Russia and Ukraine exchanged an unspecified number of sick and wounded prisoners of war on Tuesday. This was under an agreement reached at the peace talks last week in Turkey's Istanbul. Hundreds of masked rioters attacked police and set homes and cars on fire in the northern Irish town of Ballymena on Tuesday following an alleged sexual assault in the town. Costa Rican authorities have seized over 3.4 tons of cocaine hidden among fresh fruit in a shipping container destined for Europe. Officials discovered the smuggling operation during routine scans in Limon province. We're heading for a short break. We'll be back with Express News in just a bit. Stay tuned to DD India.
Open your mind to a whole new world. Explore mystic wonders of nature in the forests.
तो मुझे देख के आपको लग रहा है कि मुझे इजी वाला देना चाहिए.
Uncover secrets hidden deep inside the earth.
And I'd always heard of this ancient Shiv Mandir which is inside a cave.
Experience the rich cultural legacy.
मुझे बताइए इस डांस फॉर्म के बारे में, इस आर्ट फॉर्म के बारे में.
Experience the blend of vibrant warmth and stunning creations.
It fits perfectly.
Thank you.
Jharkhand. Let it become a part of you. Postcards from Jharkhand on National Geographic.
Welcome back. You're watching Express News. Let's resume. The India Meteorological Department has reported heat wave conditions at most places with isolated severe heat wave over northern parts of Madhya Pradesh. Also, heat wave conditions are reported at some to many places over western and northwestern states of India, with highest maximum temperature reported at 47.6 degrees Celsius. The India Meteorological Department has predicted gradual respite in heat wave conditions over northwest India, likely from 13th of June onwards. The Weather Observatory has also issued an orange alert for heat wave for India's national capital Delhi on Wednesday, with the maximum temperature for the day is forecasted to reach between 44 to 46 degrees Celsius. Jammu Municipal Corporation is using anti-dust guns to curb air pollution amid soaring temperatures. These vehicles help reduce dust pollution and improve air quality. Flood situation in northeastern state of Assam has improved marginally as the major rivers, including the Brahmaputra, showed a receding trend due to decreased levels of rains in the past few days. The India Weather Department has predicted heavy to very heavy rainfall at a few places and extremely heavy falls at isolated places over South Peninsular India. The scientific network World Weather Attribution said in a report that Greenland's ice sheet melted 17 times faster than the past average during a May heat wave that also hit Iceland. British scientists are raising concerns over a sharp decline in emperor penguin populations as melting sea ice threatens their survival. Warming waters in the Southern Ocean are causing it to disappear too soon. Tropical Hurricane Barbara that hit the west coast of Mexico is expected to become a post-tropical cyclone by Wednesday, reported the National Hurricane Center. Samba Salt Lake in the Indian city of Jaipur, a key stop along the Central Asian Flyway, has become a favorite destination for migratory birds, with large numbers of flamingos arriving this season. The Himachal International Film and Art Festival is set to host its second edition from June 13th to 15th at Kullu. The festival will showcase over 50 films, many of which are not readily available on mainstream platforms. Hanumat Dham in Lucknow hosted a unique art exhibition that seamlessly blended spirituality with creativity. The event featured a diverse collection of artworks inspired by the life and teachings of Lord Hanuman. Japan's Nintendo has said that it sold more than 3.5 million Switch 2 units in the first 4 days of its launch. This makes the console the company's fastest-selling gaming device to date. British strawberry farmers have said that this year's record-breaking spring sunshine and warm days have yielded the cream of the crop, with the harvested fruit bigger and sweeter than usual. A large new mine has been dug into the green hills of northeast Myanmar, where ongoing civil war has weakened the government's control. As a result, pollution is increasing in those rivers that flow into Thailand. Climate activist Greta Thunberg arrived back in Sweden on Tuesday after being deported from Israel. She was greeted by supporters at the Stockholm airport. Artificial intelligence will now help curb the spread of dengue fever and other mosquito-borne diseases, as delegates at the 8th Asian Dengue Summit in Manila will come with innovation ideas to curb the menace. To mark the 30th anniversary of Christo and Jean-Claude wrapped Reichstag art installation, Berlin recreated the artwork with a light projection on the west facade of the Reichstag building. From June 9th to 20th, the projection in Berlin will recreate the 1995 art installation each evening from sunset to 1 a.m., offering a glimpse of the original display. Legal representatives and relatives of Venezuelans detained in a Salvadoran prison have requested information about their legal status in San Salvador. This comes almost 3 months after some 260 migrants were deported from the US to the Central American nation. Tanks have arrived on the streets of Washington, D.C. as law enforcement agencies are preparing for hundreds of thousands of people to attend a celebration for the U.S. Army's 250th anniversary on June 14th. The event will coincide with President Donald Trump's 79th birthday. It includes an Army birthday festival on the National Mall and will culminate with a parade through the Capitol. The US Army is bringing 6,500 troops into Washington, along with 150 vehicles and 50 aircraft for the annual event. There will be aircraft, flyovers and fireworks during the event. Technology veteran IBM plans to develop a practical quantum computer that can solve major problems by the end of this decade. Current quantum computers are still experimental and face significant challenges, including high error rates. On to entertainment news now. Indian film star Amir Khan has confirmed that his recently announced superhero film with Tamil film Coolies director Lokesh Kanagaraj. The trailer of the highly anticipated Indian web series Panchayat Season 4 dropped on Wednesday, and the new season is going to be a battle between the two warring groups for the coveted seat of the head of Panchayat. James Gunn, CEO of DC Studios, has officially confirmed Wonder Woman 3. Gunn has said that they are currently busy writing the film. The British singer behind the global hit Let Her Go, Michael Rosenberg, better known as Passenger, is all set to perform in India for the first time this November. Fans from around the world gathered near a South Korean army base to celebrate BTS members Jimin and Jungkook completing their 18-month military service. BTS fans described the experience of seeing their group performers after their military discharge as a dream come true. The moment marked a powerful reminder of the bond between BTS and their devoted fan base. Pixar's new film Elio premiered in Hollywood on June the 10th. The story follows a young boy who is mistakenly taken as Earth's ambassador after being abducted by aliens. Voiced by Jonas Kibrieb, Elio is joined by characters voiced by Zoe Saldana, Jamila Jamil and Remy Edgerly, adding depth and charm to Pixar's latest comic tale. American television series Outer Banks actor Jonathan Davis has been cast as hip-hop legend Snoop Dogg in an upcoming Universal Pictures biopic. The film, produced by Snoop Dogg himself, will follow his rise to global stardom. The trailer for the comedy film The Pickup, starring American actors Pete Davidson and Eddie Murphy, has been released. The movie will stream on Prime Video starting August the 8th. And on to sports news now. Australia locks horns with South Africa in the World Test Championship final at Lord's. South Africa won the toss and opted to bowl first. Defending champions Australia will want to reclaim the title, while South Africa will seek to clinch their first World Test Championship trophy. Team India have started their red ball preparations in Beckenham ahead of their 5-match Test series against England. England wrapped up a series clean sweep with a 37-run victory over West Indies in the third T20 on Tuesday. Ben Duckett starred with a blistering 84-run knock, while Jamie Smith smashed 60 of 29 balls to lead England to victory. West Indies unveiled 16-player squad for the upcoming 3 home tests against Australia, scheduled to kick off from June 25th. The Indian men's mixed disability cricket team commenced its preparatory training camp in Jaipur ahead of the T20 series against England, which begins on June 21st. Indian shooter Elavinil Valvrivan clinched bronze medal in the women's 10-meter air rifle event at the International Shooting Sport Federation World Cup. The Indian junior women's hockey team continued their winning streak in the Tour of Europe with a 2-1 win over Belgium. Hong Kong beat India 1-0 in Group C encounter of the AFC Asian Cup Saudi Arabia 2027 qualifiers final round on Tuesday. Manchester City has signed Lyon midfielder Ryan Cherki on a 5-year contract ahead of this month's Club World Cup. The Netherlands hammered Malta 8-0 on Tuesday for a second successive World Cup qualifying victory. Ecuador qualified for the World Cup for the 5th time in their history after a draw with Peru in Lima. Brazil on Tuesday qualified for next year's FIFA World Cup after beating Paraguay 1-0 in Sao Paulo. And Australia booked their 6th consecutive FIFA World Cup berth with a hard-fought 2-1 victory over Saudi Arabia on Tuesday. And that's it in this edition of Express News. Thank you for tuning in. Namaskar.